What is up, guys, and welcome back once again. My name is Jordan, also known as Jmonster, and you are watching the first round of the TW Center Community Tournament. I am playing as the High Elves here. We're going to check out my army in a minute, but let's go take a look at the army of my opponent here. His name is Narsil, and he is playing as the Dwarves, and he's got a pretty beastly close combat army. He's got 3 units of Dale Cavalry, 2 units of Dragon Slayers, 2 units of Iron Guard, 3 units of Guards of Khazad-dûm, some of the best heavy infantry the Dwarves have to offer, 2 units of Axemen of Erebor, and yeah, actually I think that's everybody. He doesn't have a Dwarven bodyguard or anything like that. And my army, I kind of went for quantity over quality because I knew the Dwarves were probably going to outnumber me anyway. I've got 4 units of Nori no archers, 2 units of Eldar in my lancers, 2 units of Eldar spearmen, 3 units of Lindon long spears, which I brought for their armor piercing, 2 units of Mislan nobles, and here the centerpiece of my army is the very powerful, very stylish Smiths of Eredin. And in the back here I have, of course, the General's Bodyguard unit. And yes, I believe that is the entirety of my army. So let's get right into this here because it's going to start off fast. So my strategy here is to skirmish him to death, which is why I have my archers up front here. I was expecting some cavalry because he knew I was going to bring archers. So I'm going to throw my I kept my cavalry in the area, and I'm going to throw them in here against his Dale Cav. Not a good engagement for light cavalry. They're going to have a tough time against these heavy Eldar horsemen. I'm going to start shooting at them very foolishly, firing into the backs of my own troops. I'm going to stop that pretty quickly. And he sees what's going on here. He really wants a piece of my archers. That's why, that's like the big thing here. And I see him trying to pull away, so I'm moving my my General's Bodyguard here to try and flank him. He's actually going to get a nice surround off of my General's Bodyguard, and they're going to take about casualties of about half the unit, which is quite bad for them. Over here, his light cavalry is getting cut up. They are down to 9, 8, 7, and that's going to be the end of that unit. We're not going to see anything more from them. But it looks like he did manage to skirt about 35 of his Dale cavalrymen around here. That's well over half the unit, and he's going to get a nice shot off on these guys. They are going to be able to take down some of them with bows, but they are going to suffer the consequences of that very nice charge. I'm bringing in my General's Bodyguard here, as well as one of my cavalry units, which is quite depleted from fighting those 2 units. Over here, though, this unit is doing very well, but it's getting dangerously close to enemy lines. But I see that, and I'm going to pull them back here before they get into themselves into any trouble. But this unit is now safely back behind his lines, and they're going to return from routing, and he's going to be able to use them a little later on in the fight. So my archers here are quite scattered. We're trying to get some shots off on these Dale Cav here, who are skirting around our heavy cavalry, doing their best to get in the thick of it with our Cav here, but we're actually finally going to be able to surround them, and we're going to take this unit down. So seeing that this fight is now under control, I'm going to take my archers here, and I'm going to try and reform a firing line and resume my original plan, which is to try and skirmish this just monstrous heavy infantry army, this total meat grinder right here. 3 units of Guards of Khazad-dûm. That is not an easy fight. So my first target is going to be the Axemen of Erebor, because while they are heavily armored, they are less heavily armored than troops with a shield. So we're going to have a better chance of killing many of them before they can reach our lines. So yeah, I'm just trying to set up my my archers here, get a good. Oh, it looks like this that unit of Dale Cavalry is back here, and my General's Bodyguard is very, very beat up. But I'm gonna throw them at these guys. But he's doing a really good job of avoiding my heavy cavalry and getting in amongst my archers. He's doing a real good job of that, and he got a fairly effective charge off here. A lot of minority archers are gonna go down, but that's gonna be the end of this unit. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 left. And yeah, we got my Eldar Cav here to try and sweep away any survivors. And that is the end of the Cav fight. Very bloody, very bloody. And the Dwarven player lost a big edge there in losing his Cav. So now I have some fairly intact units of Cav. I'm going to try and pull them out of the fight, pull them back here towards my infantry line. And we are just going to skirmish these Dwarves as best we can. So we're going to start moving our archers off in different directions so that he can't attack them all at once. And so they can give their comrades here a little bit of covering fire. These guys are going to start running pretty quick. Yep. Fleeing in the face of this ferocious Dwarven advance. And we've got... Yeah, we're going to move these guys over to the flank here. We're going to turn them around, start taking some shots at the Erebor Axemen. We did manage to do a number on them. Quite a lot of them died, but that's the result of 4 units of archers firing at them. So that's how effective arrows are against the Dwarves, which is to say, not very. Yeah, so we're taking some shots here at the other unit, because I know these guys are very powerful, and all of these units have armor piercing as well. But these guys, except for the Iron Guard, but these guys have the highest attack value, And yeah, I want to get rid of them as soon as possible, or at the very least weaken them. Yeah, so my army here, we're just going into just a big skirmish phase while he tries to cover the ground between my army and his. We're going to start taking some shots again at the Axemen of Erebor because they are a big threat, especially to our heavy infantry line. These guys have a lower attack value with their one-handed axes. They do have armor piercing, but it's not as devastating as the Axemen of Erebor. These Iron Guards are going to fight to the end. You guys will see. They are amazing. He's got his Dragon Slayers of Mithrin? Arid Mithrin coming in on the corner here. And I think I'm going to start... I'm going to try and scoot this unit of archers around behind them so I can start taking some arrow shots into their back and eliminate their armor bonus from the front. I'm moving my heavy cavalry off here just to get them into position. And yeah, we're moving my archers to the flanks here so that they can get some nice shots into the backs of his infantry. And also what I want him to do, because he knows that the archers are a big threat, especially when firing from behind. So what I'm going to try and do is bait some of his heavy infantry. Yep, here they come. And they're going to run after my archers. And they're not going to be able to catch them, unfortunately, because Norituno archers are very swift. That was another advantage of bringing some lighter archers over the heavier Elder Inway archers, is that they're very well suited for the skirmish strategy that I had envisioned for this battle. So things are about to get messy. The Dwarven infantry line, that meat grinder, is approaching, and they're almost all intact. Managed to do a reasonable amount of damage to those Axemen of Erebor. So we're going to countercharge here. This is a pretty good matchup. The Smith of Eredin will hold, but the victory is definitely going to be certain for the Dwarven forces, as they outnumber them quite a lot. So here come the Axemen of Erebor. This is exactly what I was afraid of. And I had a bit of a micro mistake here, is that I brought my cav out way too far. So they are unfortunately going to be out of position. We still got my archers here skirmishing on the flanks, just trying to keep this extra unit of heavy infantry busy. So at the moment our lines are about even, but he's not going to do that on the other side. He's going to actually throw his Dragon Slayers of Arid Mithrin here into the fray against my Lindon Long Spears, and they are outnumbered and outclassed. That's not going to be a good fight for them. But they do have some archer support, which is good. But finally, my cav is getting into the mix. And I'm picking my targets very carefully here, because I know that the Axemen of Erebor are quite vulnerable to charges. So we're going to take a bite out of them first. They're going to be our main target, as they are very, very deadly in close combat in a pitched melee like this. So yeah, we're just going to be cycling charges in and out here, because luckily for us, we managed to eliminate his cav early in the battle, which is going to prove a decisive factor. So yeah, our cav is just coming in and coming out and just cycling into the backs of these Dwarven units, who are standing up to it very well. Testament to Dwarven ferocity here, in that these units are not breaking immediately after 3 charges from Eldar heavy cav. Yeah, these Iron Guard here, I'm doing my best. I need to kill these guys because they are very powerful and they do not go down easy in a fight, especially against these spearmen. That's a good fight for the Iron Guard. So it's about 31 to 58 at the moment. I've killed about 2/3 of his army, so things are going okay, but Dwarven infantry is not to be underestimated. Even when outnumbered, they can pull things, they can turn things around. So it looks like a little bit of a micro mistake here from my opponent. His Iron Guard here just doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. And these long spears are doing actually pretty well against them. It says victory is certain, but there's only 50 of them, so I really don't think that's gonna change too much. But something important happening over here. He finally gets tired of chasing my archers, so he's gonna try and bring in his troops here to flank my Lindon long spears, which is a real good move from him, because that will wipe that unit out real fast. So I bring in a unit of Norituno archers here to kind of throw under the bus against these Dwarven heavy infantry. We're still firing at them with our archers on the flank there, but I am going to bring the remnants of my General's Bodyguard unit here. I'm going to start running some hammer and anvil charges into the backs of those Dragon Slayers. But in the center here, we managed to rout those Dragon Slayers of Mithrin. So I got a bit of a micro mistake here, is that I pulled these guys back with the intent of reinforcing this line right here, because these guys are getting a little bit thin. But I didn't do that as quickly as I possibly could. So unfortunately, that's not going to go very well for them. But over here, the defeat is certain for these guys. These guys are about to rout. But they're doing very well against these Dragon Slayers. They have managed to deal some serious damage to them. Although I think a lot of that is these archer units firing into the backs right there. So I finally get my act together and move this army, or this unit of Mithlond Nobles here, a very healthy unit. And in the meantime, we're just trying to micro my cav, throw them into the backs of these ferocious Guards of Khazad-dûm, because 3 of them is very deadly. I didn't even realize, actually, that he had 3 units until just now, or until I started the replay. So these guys are holding out very well. And they're inflicting some casualties on my general's bodyguard here as well. They're just standing up to the charges. Yeah, they just refuse to back down. So I'm trying to micro it. I'm doing a decent job here of getting these charges off. I'll turn off my archer fire and then pull this guy out and then turn the archer fire back on. In the meantime, my heavy cav here is doing work on this dwarven heavy infantry, but they are, despite getting charged in the back and being outnumbered, they are giving it to these Lindon long spears, and they're just pushing through. They've pushed them back quite a lot. Now they're behind my lines here, and these spearmen are just getting cut down by the guards of Khazad-dûm. Seeing this, I'm going to throw a unit of horsemen into the back of them, but it's just not doing anything. They just won't die. Over here, things are going a lot better. We managed to rout that unit of guards of Khazad-dûm, and we managed to rout his Erebor axemen as well here and here. So we've basically broken this flank, so things are going pretty well for us. Victory at this point is definitely a possibility, but he's getting a nice countercharge here into the backs of these spearmen, and they are shaken. They do not like it at all. And that's where his general goes down. But it doesn't matter because his dwarven units are not going to rout. Like this little Lindon spearman right here, just poking at the back of these Dragon Slayers. Actually getting some kills. Look at that. So yeah, seeing this, that they need some boots on the ground, I'm going to throw my archers into the fight against these Iron Guard, which is going to result in some pretty heavy losses. Again, my cav kind of just sitting here, not doing a whole lot. These guys are getting mixed up with the guards of Khazad-dûm, but it's... defeat is certain, it says. Oh, balance forces evenly matched. These guys are tough. So I'm just going to surround them. I'm going to throw everything that I have against them. And over here, this unit of Dwarven Dragon Slayers is surrounded, but still fighting on. Despite the loss of their general, despite being outnumbered, they fight on. But these guys are now very tired and very tired. They're not having a fun time. And there's not really a whole lot of room here for cav charges, though I am going to take these guys around the back here, these 2 units of Eldar cav, or rather just one, I guess. We're going to bring them around the back here, and we're going to try and run some cycle charges into the backs of these Dragon Slayers and Iron Guard. For all the good it will do. They're not going to run away. Yeah, threw these guys over here into the back of these guys, because they just slaughtered everybody on this side and then turned around to face this horde of foes. So their back is exposed, but they just cut their way through here. Like, there's so many dead elves all over the ground. Yeah, our cycle charge going off here. Not doing too bad. Looks like we did manage to rout those Dragon Slayers, so hopefully that's going to be the last we see of them. I think I'm going to use my cav to run them down. But the Iron Guard, unfazed, still fighting on. Let's take a look at how things are going over here. Yeah, despite their losses, despite the loss of their general and most of the army, these guards of Khazad-dûm are just trucking through my units. So we're actually going to speed it up a little bit here, because it's mostly, at this point, it's just mopping up. But yeah, these guys, look at them. They just won't die. We've lost half of our men. Yeah, and now we're down to about half of our soldiers. Cav charges and arrows and spears and swords, nothing can stop the Iron Guard. Very stubborn, very dwarven. Looks like we did manage to clean up the rest of those guards of Khazad-dûm. There's quite a lot of them. I don't think I've ever seen 3 of them in one battle before. That was that very heavy investment on my opponent's part. And it did pay off over here because they did hold the line, but the loss of his cav really hurt him in the long run, I think. Because if he had that cav the whole time, I wouldn't have been able to run cycle charges as quickly as I did. Potentially, and he might have killed a lot more of my archers, so things could have been a lot different. He might have managed to get his own hammer and anvil strikes off, so losing that in the beginning of the match was very decisive. It was a very decisive engagement, which is what I really needed to do in order to have a good chance at winning this. I needed to take out the cav that I figured he was going to have, and there it is. Very good game to my opponent. Narsil did a great job, killed many of my elves. 547 of them died. And that is the end of the first game of the first round. I'm going to be coming at you real soon with the second half, or the second third, I suppose, of our matches. And yeah, we'll see you guys then.